The night my father left, my mother sat outside in the rain, holding her stomach where I was growing. She didn't cry loudly, but I could hear her quiet sobs mixed with the sound of raindrops hitting the ground. No one came to comfort her. No one knocked on our door to ask if she was okay. The village was silent, as if nothing had happened. In the morning, she got up, wiped her face, and went to the river to fetch water, just like any other day. There was no time to sit and grieve. She worked in people's farms, carrying baskets of maize on her back, her hands rough from digging in the soil. Some days, she came home with food. Some days, she did not. When I was little, I didn't understand why the other children had fathers, and I didn't. One day, I came home crying because the other boys had laughed at my torn shirt. That night, my mother sat by the fire, sewing under the dim lantern until her fingers bled. The next morning, she gave me a new shirt. I later found out she had sold her only good dress to buy the fabric. Years passed, and I studied harder than anyone else. I knew I had to make something of myself. I was offered a scholarship to study medicine in the city. The day I left, my mother handed me a small bag with roasted ground nuts and a bottle of water. "This is all I have," she said, forcing a smile. The city was different. Tall buildings, bright lights, busy roads. I worked day and night, reading until my eyes burned, thinking only of the woman who had given everything for me. One day, a neighbor called me. "Your mother is sick." I dropped everything and rushed home. I found my mother lying in our small hut, her face thin, her body frail. She tried to smile when she saw me, but I could see the pain in her eyes. I took her to the city with me and treated her with the best care I could. Slowly, she got better. She was still weak, but she was alive. The day I graduated as a doctor, I took the first bus home. I walked into our village wearing my white coat, my heart pounding. My mother stood outside waiting. She looked at me, and for the first time in a long time, tears filled her eyes, not from pain, but from joy. I knelt before her, holding her hands. "Mama, it is over. You will never suffer again." She pulled me into her arms, and for the first time, I felt whole